Good morning and welcome to our Saturday morning Devo, June the 27th. Today, our devotion is entitled Painful Labor. I don't assume they're talking about giving birth, but we'll see. Genesis 3:17. To Adam, he said, because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil, you will eat food from it all the days of your life. Genesis 3 is an ancient text filled with rich theology and narrative form, but it could not be more relevant and practical to life today. It goes for the jugular, as if to say, do you find the two great tasks in life, love and work, to be excruciatingly hard? This explains why. God ties the pain of love and marriage and the pain of work very closely together in Genesis 3:14 through 19. Both childbearing and farming are now called painful labor. Theologian W.R. Forster writes, quote, in language after language, the same word is used for toil and childbearing. For example, labor and travail. So companies assemble teams to work furiously for months or years to give birth, he puts that in quotes, to give birth to new products or ventures, which may die a quick death in the marketplace. Star football players often suffer the effects of injuries throughout their lives. Brilliant entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs get thrown out of companies when times get tough. And then he puts in parentheses, few get invited back like Jobs was. The weeds or the computer viruses or the corruption scandals come back with a vengeance. Research into the properties of the atom becomes the basis for the atomic bomb. In other words, work, even when it bears fruit, is always painful. It's always painful, okay. Often miscarries and sometimes kills us. Wasn't that a happy note this morning on this Saturday? Painful labor. Again, we've been given a job. God called Adam and Eve on the carpet. Not that there was carpet back then, because they had sinned. They'd listened to Satan. They had done exactly what God told them not to do. And therefore, their lives became much more difficult than intended. And the whole thing became painful. To see one son kill another son, to be kicked out of that wonderful, glorious garden that God had created just for them. And it is love and work, love for each other. Hopefully they had, but it became difficult. And childbearing and farming are now called painful labor. um, there's just all kinds of things here that he equates athletes being hurt a lot, especially football players, people who've started companies and then got thrown out of them, like Steve Jobs. Um, all kinds of things, corruption scandals, uh, computer viruses, all those kinds of things that can make the work become very hard and become painful because maybe we can't figure it out. Maybe we can't fix it, as the case may be. And we have to roll with the punches when it comes to all of that. Painful labor. Part of the painful, I'm sure, was the fact that God punished them, especially Adam. He was supposed to be in charge. and he didn't carry through like he was supposed to. And he's cursed for all the days of his life. And generation after generation after generation after generation has to bear that burden, has to bear that painful labor that goes on. Nothing's perfect anymore. Nothing is just a snap and boom, we're done. We're on our way to the next job kind of thing. And that's part of the fallen nature of the human race. We are often getting things confused, messed up, unenjoyable. God created all of this for our pleasure, I believe. He created all of this to give to us something glorious and wonderful. But then we start taking some wrong steps, just as Adam and Eve did, and we lose much of what that good enjoyment he planned to give us. We have squandered it. Kind of like the prodigal son, I guess, who took his inheritance from his father and then wasted it all away. We do that regularly, I think, if not seldomly, with what God has given to us to enjoy and to make good use of, to be good stewards of. And that's something if we're not careful, instead of enjoying it, it becomes a burden and it becomes painful. And we don't know what to do about it. And that was Adam and Eve's issue. They went hiding from God. I always found that interesting. God came looking for them, and they went into hiding. They knew they'd sinned, so they got fig leaves to cover themselves with, and were quite unhappy when God found them, I believe, because he began to call them on the carpet, and they began to pass the blame. Adam blames Eve, Eve blames Satan, and on they go. And it becomes a very, I'm sure, painful. Can you imagine standing personally before God and you're trying to come up with an excuse as to why he shouldn't be mad at you? I can't. I can't imagine that. But although someday, uh, when when the unbelievers are being judged at the Bema seat of judgment, you're going to hear some interesting stories, I think, from people. Well, it's not my fault. So and so, made me do that kind of thing, and we do that now. But again, God, all that God intended to give us for our pleasure and enjoyment, we squandered quickly. Thanks, Adam and Eve, for that. And hopefully, we don't keep taking a cue from them in making excuses for one thing or another. So, on those happy notes today, on this Saturday, enjoy your day and try to make your work pleasant.